Classic Portland pizza chain, Hotlips, closes most of its locations. At like 6, it's closing 4. A couple have already closed. I mean, this is happening all over Portland. You've got businesses shutting down. You've got stores shutting down that aren't able to deal with the whole shoplifting thing. You've got a drug epidemic running wild. You got graffiti everywhere. You got broken windows. This is what you got going on in Portland. And the end result is businesses can't stay open and they're shutting down in droves. Let's get into it. Here we go. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out our members only section on reasonabletv.com. Also, don't be afraid to join our Discord channel. God, I'm posting stuff there all the time. All the storylines that you see here are on our Discord channel. I'm there. You can chat with me, or you can chat with me Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. I'm there on the previews of the premieres of our YouTube videos. Thanks in advance. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Remember Hotlips Houlihan from MASH? That was a good show. I liked watching that show. That was fun. Alan Alda. Oh. But Hotlips Houlihan, she always, I was kind of like, what's the deal with her and the other doctor? Are they always, is there tomfoolery going on? There was, right? There was. Oh, yeah. I was a kid. So I'm like, why are the adults doing all this? Oh, this is weird. And then you had the trans dressing, you had Klinger, who was always trying to get out on a psych evaluation where they kick him out for being crazy because he's wearing women's clothing. That was interesting. You know, as a kid watching that in the 70s going, hey, this guy's got a woman's hat on. Ha ha. That's weird. Yeah. Hey, he'd fit right in today in Portland, right? Portland institution Hotlips Pizza will close 3 of its 5 restaurants effective immediately. And I believe they've already closed a couple. In 2022, the 39-year-old business known for local ingredients and fruit sodas announced Monday that it would close locations at Northeast 33rd Avenue and Killingsworth Street in the Hollywood district and near Providence Park, they're citing economic and labor issues, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. So I cover a lot of Walmart. I've been on a Walmart run. You know why? Because Walmart's closing a crap ton of stores. And typically the really interesting thing about that, businesses will close stores in areas that are not performing to corporate expectations, but there's been such a component of shoplifting, organized retail theft in areas that have allowed this to just occur, that corporate is singling these stores out in communities that can least afford to have this ongoing, right? So I cover a lot of big corporate, whether it's Target, Walgreens, Walmart. This is a small family-owned business that's been there since 1984. And the pandemic of 2020 and the riots, downtown Portland, all of that, the ongoing shoplifting, the ongoing elevated, crime factor, the stolen cars, the fentanyl addiction. So it's addiction that's causing so much of the shoplifting, right? And the ability for people who are shoplifting for a living to get that next fix. They've got markets within their city that are set up. And we don't have, in Portland, you don't have the policing to put a huge dent in it. Portland is on its heels, meaning they're rocked backwards. They can't react forward because they're on their, not on their back, but they're on their heels. Some would say they're on their back and just taking it. Stores they would agree with you from that standpoint because we're seeing so many businesses that are boarded up, and the mayor saying, take those boards down. It's a terrible look. Yeah. Well, it's a terrible look for a reason because, the nut jobs, people that aren't in institutions where they should be, whether for addiction or mental issues, they're running around with hammers, just breaking the crap out of windows in Portland. And what's the point of, putting up more glass? You just want to encourage them. Hey, here you go. We fixed it for you. Whack it with another hammer. Go for it. You don't want to encourage that. So this is a prime example of a business that is probably as nimble as it can be. And what I mean by that it's not big, huge corporate. It's not. It's a family run business. They can know all of their costs going into it. They know exactly what they're doing. They know they're underperforming stores, meaning the ones that aren't doing as well. And why would a pizza shop not be able to make it? Well, because you're in an area where you don't have as many people shopping and they're not out doing what they used to do. People are fearful for their lives. You got a bunch of break-ins happening. You got crazy stuff going on. You know, you throw that on top of food costs going up, because this is a pizza restaurant, right? You got food costs going up, all the costs of everything, your labor costs, all of that goes together. And you got one of two options. You're either profitable or you're not. So this company, this family-owned company, as far as I know it, is, from what I can understand reading, is they're doing the best they can to cut it down, be nimble, make the right moves, still stay in business, take the core of their business, making pizza at 2 locations and make a go of it. But you've got all these other factors, and they're going to blame COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Yeah, you were probably shut down because everything was basically shut down except big corporate, right? And they got a hall pass. Well, we need them to be able to provide for everybody, for restaurants, bars, any of that good stuff. Hard no-go. So you got shut down. Yeah, you got a little PPP money, payroll protection program, but that doesn't make up for the fact that post-COVID, you're living in an apocalypse, which is Portland. It's rough. You got homeless running around everywhere. You don't have, you don't have what it used to be, which was just this cool town where you had a little bit of quirkiness, a little bit of keep Portland weird. But now you've got factors that are causing local business to shut down left and right. And I've covered a lot of them, but this is a more of a medium-sized chain. It's not a one-off. It's not that one thrift shop that I covered a while ago that they said, hey, nobody's out shopping. Nobody's out buying stuff. People aren't, going in the community and doing their thing. Some of it has to do, I'm sure some of these locations are impacted by, you don't have the people in the downtown core. People in the office buildings in downtown Portland are not there. They are not there. They don't want to go there because it's scary. Some people are going to say, I work there every day, Sean. I do my thing every day. Well, you've got an element there that has made it such that Portland has one of the least recovered downtown cores. And it's the story. It's an ongoing narrative that we all know about. It's the broken window syndrome, right? Got a bunch of broken windows, got a bunch of businesses shut down, start fixing that stuff little piece by piece. But you got to be able to put people in jail. You got to be willing to throw people in jail. And unfortunately, where Portland sits right now, that isn't happening. And this very progressive attitude towards drugs and shoplifting and crime in general, it's going the wrong way. And that's why you got Hotlips Pizza, Hotlips Houlihan shutting down. So, what do you say? That just sucks, right? It's with a terribly heavy heart that we must close these beloved stores and have the first layoffs in our history. Co-owner Jeana Edelman said in a press release, each person is hardworking and has contributed mightily to the teams they have worked with and to the longevity and health of our company. Many have been with us for years, decades even. I have sincere gratitude for the time they've given us and deep sadness at this unfortunate turn. You might blame the supply chain. You might blame the economics of COVID, but we're, you're so outside of that, right? And businesses in Portland are having a tough time because you don't have the people shopping. You don't have the people eating out. You don't have the people going places because people are kind of hunkered down. They're like, yeah. And a lot of stores have had so much shoplifting because of the, drug element, because of the addiction element. That's what's going on with all the homeless encampments, right? I mean, let's be honest. Those are set up there for just basically do a bunch of drugs and party in a community setting. So if you overdose, you're going to have lots of, support. Edelman called Monday one of the darkest days in Hotlips history. Edelman owns the business with her husband, David Yudkin, whose father was one of the company's founders in 1984. The oldest Hotlips location at Portland State University closed in 2020 after being open for 36 years. Okay, that's the one I'm probably thinking of. So we gave it all our, Yudkin said in the press release, sustaining jobs through the entire pandemic by retooling to keep our staff and customers safe. But the ongoing economic effects hurt us profoundly, as with so many other businesses. We plan to move forward with a smaller crew, smaller footprint, fewer moving parts, and realistic attainable goals, he added. According to Edelman, the production of sodas has also been dialed back due to supply issues. Soda sales are contracted back to only our restaurants, she said. We will evaluate next steps when the summer fruit comes in. Hotlips locations on Hawthorne and in the Pearl remain open, and the restaurant will continue to deliver all parts of Portland, according to the release. So they're going to deliver, but they've got a number of, core locations that they've been in business, basically in retail terms, forever. Basically a couple of generations, right? Got the dad who started it, got the kids running it now, and those kids probably have their own kids, So this is one of those breakdowns where there's a whole bunch of moving parts, but some of the core parts that we're not really talking about, and you're not talking about in this article, you've got an environment in Portland that is not conducive to business. That's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. And that's what you got to deal with. If you're a business, that's what you got to deal with. Just over 3 years after the COVID pandemic shut down the country, many local restaurants have cited it as part of the cause for closing down operations. In 2020, Hotlips closed its location near Portland State University due to the pandemic. So, it's not all one reason. Whereas like with corporate and either a Walgreens or a CVS, or more recently, it's been Walmart. That's basically strictly shoplifting. You don't have that at a pizza place. What you have is lack of foot traffic, lack of business, lack of people coming into the store, into the restaurant. It's not viable. You don't have enough people running around for multiple different reasons. But the overall general environment, that is what's taking an impact. Because if there was tons of people running around shopping, doing their thing, out and about, doing their thing, downtown core was full, businesses in downtown core, just everybody's filled up, all the office space. You've got a tiny fraction of office space in Portland right now that is filled with legit businesses that have their employees there day in and day out. A tiny percentage. And all of these things amplify to the point where stores can hold on. They've got reserves. Okay, now we're eating into retirement. Okay, we're eating into retirement. Okay, we got to make a judgment call here. And just like big corporate does, just like Walmart does, they got to whack some stores. So now those communities where these stores are whacked will not have their favorite Hotlips Pizza. And that really sucks. Because how many places do you know that are called Hotlips Pizza? It's like, I think of Hotlips and I always think of Hotlips Houlihan from MASH. But it's also putting pizza in your mouth. I got hot lips. That makes a lot of sense. And I like pizza. I think pizza's epic. It's pretty salty and it's not great for you. A lot of carbohydrate, a lot of fat and the cheese, but that's what makes it so good. Like bubbling, cheese on the pizza. That's some good stuff. There's been a couple there was Sunshine Pizza in Kirkland, Washington. I used to eat there with my dad when I was really young and I was working for him coming up through the appraisal gig. And we'd go there to Sunshine Pizza and we'd order a whole pizza. And it had this epic ground beef on it. Ground beef and this secret sauce, whatever it was. But it was like a John Candy, because he's from Canada and Canadian bacon on it. I don't know. But I remember, those independent shops, whereas you go to a big chain, whatever it is, Domino's, terrible pizza. Don't enjoy. But it's really hard to get a local independent pizza that's epic, that's really great. And from what I understand, Hotlips Pizza is pretty darn good. So it's really sad to see them go, but it's kind of like, this is what's happening. This is how the business market, this is how profitability deals with stores, and they're either being open or closed. And unfortunately for Hotlips, they got to shut some down so that they can stay viable. It's kind of like trimming your apple tree. I tend to go a little ham on that because I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to go back. I need to cut off more. You just whack the ones that are non-performing, right? That's a hard whack because you built that up. You grew that limb. All right, I got to whack it. You know, in the case of a store, you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in getting that store up and operational, you know, generations have worked on it. And then all of a sudden, because of business climate in Portland in 2023, and we're shutting stores down. That's what you've got going on. I wish I had better news. I wish there was, you know, something else you could say, but the business market in Portland is not conducive to running a business. And until leadership in Portland, leadership in Portland is going 100 different directions, just trying to figure out which way to go to get things back on track. And unfortunately, as they reach for one, something else gets neglected. So, you know, you've got these situations where, you know, Mayor Ted is unfortunately chasing his tail. I don't know how they're going to get back on track. I mean, you're going to have some real decisive leadership, and I'm not seeing that currently. And I know you've got a lot of citizens that are really pissed off in Portland. Who wouldn't be pissed that they're losing Hotlips Pizza? You know, that's frustrating because that's a local thing. I didn't read a single thing in all the reviews I read that were like really negative. People weren't like, that's a crappy chain. I hate them. They're terrible. As a local chain that, you know, I think a lot of love and time and money had been poured into to make it go for the community. And unfortunately, it's at that point where it's a no-go and ownership has to take that hard look at what's going on and say, we got to make a choice. And unfortunately, this one, and this one, shut her down. It's a no-go. It's a no-go. But again, it's interesting, you know, how they chose to cite this, which was, you know, COVID. All right. What happened during COVID? Why did shoplifting and organized retail theft get the green light and just escalate so dramatically? Why did that happen? Those are some of the questions that run through my head. How come during the pandemic? I fully understand the downtown core, kind of the picture of downtown. All right. So none of the businesses were there with their employees. All the other little businesses basically shut down because there was nobody for them to serve, nobody for them to sell stuff. So you had nothing going on. You had homeless encampments just explode because nobody was doing a sweep during the Rona, and homeless encampments knew that. So they brought in all these massive structures and they just went ham and they lived, you know, wherever the F they wanted. Downtown got just all jammed up. You had open air markets of stolen goods because that was a huge thing. And you also had the drug crisis really start to escalate. You had fentanyl start to really rise up in its popularity, and prices started to come down. You know, before the pandemic, pills were 30, 40, 50 bucks a pop. And now you buy them wholesale for $1 and you sell them for $2 for a pill that used to be 40, 50 bucks. So the question isn't why are these things going on? We know why these things are going on, but then that's the downtown core. And so then you've got a lot of folks that, you know, aren't working in the downtown core that are working remotely. Downtown Portland's having a tough time getting people to come back because ownership of businesses is saying, hey, we don't want our employees there. It's too dangerous. You got a lot of shenanigans going on. We can't have our folks in jeopardy, their physical safety. And other businesses are saying, hey, we're being broken into on the regular. We can't keep this up. And Hotlips Pizza, unfortunately, has said, no go, no moss in multiple locations. So then the real question to me is always, all right, move that out to the burbs. You take that look out to the burbs. Shoplifting there, just off the hook. Criminal activity off the hook. It's like somebody sent out a, silent memo and said, hey guys, let's go for it. We need you to do your best. Steal as much crap as humanly possible, including cars, shootings. Yeah, hell yeah, go for it. I mean, just shoot each other willy-nilly. A lot of that has to do with the drug trades. You got gangs shooting each other. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you've just got shoplifting, but it all kind of tied together, and I'll probably figure it out after a while, but there's still some bits and pieces where I'm like, the timing of this, it's just like, what happened? I don't know. If you know, let me know. And I'm talking specifically about shoplifting, just basically going through the roof and everybody blaming it on, well, it happened because of COVID. Well, why? That's what I want to know. And maybe somewhere in the dark recesses of my mind, I've kind of put it together, but yeah, those are questions that I have. If you know, let me know in the comments. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch up with you soon.